They are names that once made the world bow. Singers, actors, athletes, comedians. These individuals not only reached the pinnacle of glory, but also became symbols of an era. Yet in some fateful moment, everything was wiped away by twisted steel flames erupted and the clash of metal and fate resounded. Car accidents, with no script, no happy ending. Just a brutal, cold reality that strikes with paralyzing surprise. These are not just accidents. This is the tragedy of speed and carelessness of alcohol in the blood and a rain-soaked road of a message left unsent and a late swerve. Each character on this list lived as if immortal, on stage, in the frame, on the racetrack, or under the stadium lights. But none of them escaped the roar of sliding tires or the blinding light of the final collision. You will recognize a few names. You will be surprised that some have left without you ever hearing about their end. Some are forgotten in the ashes, while others become legends precisely because of the way they departed. But what makes this list frightening is not just their deaths, but the feeling that it could happen to anyone. One wrong decision, one moment of distraction, one turn with no way back. And if you feel surprised reading these lines, remember one thing. Don't be astonished by it today, because fate, like a car with no brakes, always rushes forward without warning lights. Have you heard about these stories before? If so, leave a 1 below. If not, comment. 0 for me. Don't forget to watch the video carefully hit, like if you find this video meaningful, and leave a subscription to support my channel's growth. Let's share, so everyone knows and raises awareness about safe driving. They are the stars who have illuminated the worlds of music, film, and sports until fate struck in unimaginable ways. Leading the way is Dotty West, the queen of country music with her distinctive raspy voice and fiery spirit. She was one of the first women in Nashville to write and produce her own albums, paving the way for many other female artists to follow. Ironically, it was her trust in seeking help that led to her tragic fate. On August 30th, 1991, after her car broke down, she was unexpectedly offered a ride to the Grand Ole Opry by her neighbor George Thaxton, the stage she had always considered her temple. As they approached the steep road to Opryland, Thaxton misjudged the turn and the car was traveling at about 55 miles per hour instead of slowing down to a safe speed. The car flew through the air before crashing hard into the embankment with enough force to destroy a small train. The result was that the car was completely mangled. Although Dotty survived the initial soft impact, her injuries were too severe for the doctors to save her. She passed away at the age of 58, leaving Nashville in profound sorrow. The person who shaped country music as we know it today left us not in a natural way, but due to a tragic turning point. Someone who had never needed help lost her life because she trusted those who wanted to assist her. Next is the story of Lisa Left Eye, Lopes the wild spirit and standout personality of the famous girl group TLC. With her sharp eyes, confident style, and an attitude that would never back down, she infused the R&B music of the 90s with life, becoming an irreplaceable global icon. Lisa's passion and strong personality contributed to the undeniable allure of the group, making TLC one of the most successful and influential girl bands of all time. However, her life ended in a heartbreaking and unbelievable tragedy. On April 25, 2002, Lisa was driving a rented Mitsubishi Montero SUV in Latea, Honduras, on a special trip that combined documentary filming and personal reflection time. While trying to steer to avoid a suddenly appearing truck, her vehicle lost control. The SUV rolled multiple times on the road and crashed violently into 2 trees by the roadside, resulting in a horrific accident. Everything happened too quickly, and no one could intervene in time to save her from disaster. Ironically, Lisa was not wearing her seatbelt while driving, and as a result, she was thrown out of the car window when the collision occurred. The chaotic scene that followed was filled with shattered glass, heavily deformed metal, and her body being tragically ejected from the vehicle. As the dust settled, Lisa lay motionless at the scene and was confirmed dead on the spot. She was only 30 years old, a death that was too young and too sudden, leaving the entire music world and her fans in a state of shock and sorrow. Even more frightening, just days before the accident, Lisa had shared a feeling that someone was watching her, as if death was lurking nearby. A chilling warning that still haunts her admirers to this day. Finally, for the first part, there is Tom Mix, the first cowboy of American cinema. Before Clint Eastwood or John Wayne appeared, Mix had starred in over 300 silent films with daring action scenes and a masculine demeanor that captivated women and earned the admiration of men. However, even legends cannot escape a cruel fate. On October 12, 1940, Mix drove his beloved convertible from Tucson, Arizona, after visiting the local sheriff. Unfortunately, during his journey through the desert, the car malfunctioned, and he did not have enough time to react and lost control. The accident resulted in his death at the scene. Tom Mix's death was a major shock, marking the end of a glorious era of the American Western film, as a real-life icon departed not due to old age or illness, but because of an unexpected situation no one could foresee. Tom Mix, the first silver screen cowboy and a symbol of the American West, met with misfortune on a small detour. He was driving his yellow Cord Phaeton convertible from Tucson south toward Florence when he lost control. The car flipped violently, and an aluminum suitcase from the back seat struck Mix on the head, causing his immediate death. As a result, the 60-year-old cowboy, who had appeared in over 300 films, passed away in a crash on a road he would never return from. A small memorial by the roadside is still adorned with hats and shoes left by fans in his memory. He sang about taxi drivers, distant fathers, and the everyday struggles that shape who we are. Harry Chapin was not just a musician, he was a master storyteller, infusing his songs with genuine emotions through a voice that could touch the hearts of listeners. But on a summer afternoon in 1981, the man raised his voice for countless people who had lost their own voices in the most brutal and merciless way possible on the highway behind the wheel, chasing yet another stretch of road. July 16, 1981. Chapin was on his way to perform at a free fundraising concert, something he often does selflessly. Driving his Volkswagen Rabbit along the Long Island Highway, he didn't see it coming. A massive tractor-trailer crashed into his car from behind at high speed. The impact crumpled the Rabbit like a piece of paper. Flames erupted fiercely. Chaos ensued afterward. Chapin was airlifted to Nassau County Medical Center, but it was too late. The wounds are truly devastating. The fire took away the rest. At just 38 years old, Harry Chapin has passed away. His death shocked not only his fans, but also the very ideals he pursued. He donated millions of dollars to famine relief efforts and tirelessly fought for those without a voice. Ironically, the very moment of generosity and wanting to help others led to his final journey. The brightest flame of rock and roll has been extinguished in a taxi ride from hell. He was young, wild, and full of passion. Eddie Cochran was not just a rising star. He was the soundtrack of teenage rebellion, with hits like Summertime Blues and Come On Everybody. This rock and roll prodigy stirred up the late 1950s, bringing a raw style and skillful guitar riffs that inspired many generations. But just as his career was about to take off, fate dealt a devastating blow on a rainy night in April. On April 17, 1960, Eddie was finishing a whirlwind tour in England in a taxi with his fiancée Sharon Sheely and rock friend Gene Vincent. The trio was on their way to the airport Dreams of America and many other hit songs just hours away. But in the peaceful town of Chippenham, England, the taxi lost control. The car crashed into a lamppost, metal twisted, glass shattered. The sound of screams, chaos. Cochran, a true gentleman, reportedly threw himself in front of Sharon to protect her. That decision may have cost him his life. He was taken to St. Martin's Hospital in a near-unconscious state, barely clinging to life. A day later, on April 18th, Eddie Cochran was pronounced dead. He was only 21 years old. The entire music world was in shock. Fans were deeply saddened. A legend in the making was stolen away by a metal twist and misfortune. Though his life was short, Cochran's legacy continues to resonate through every amplifier, every anthem, every teenage scream that dares to challenge the norms. She is beautiful, intelligent, and bold. A pioneer in a male-dominated world. Jessica Savage not only reported the news but also commanded it. As one of the first women to anchor a news program on a major television network in the U.S., she broke through every barrier with her calmness, strength, and a voice that could cut through any chaos. But behind the glamorous facade on screen lies a shattered life and a tragic ending more profound than any headline she ever read. October 23, 1983. A rainy night in New Hope, Pennsylvania. Jessica is riding her bike with her boyfriend Martin Fishbein after dinner. The road is narrow, winding, and slippery from the fog. No lights, no signs, just darkness. In the dark, the vehicle veers off the road. It plunges into a canal, swallowing them whole, trapped. No way out. As the car sinks into the thick black mud, both have no chance of survival. By the time the rescue team finds them, it is too late. Jessica Savage, a face trusted by millions, is gone. She was only 36 years old. Her death shocked the entire nation. An emerging media icon silenced not by scandal or exhaustion, but by a cruel twist of fate on a forgotten road. No cameras, no last words, only silent tears and the car that became her coffin. Jessica's life was like a shooting star, and her ending was truly brutal. Perhaps the most haunting part is that this woman, who always had the final word, never got to tell her own last story. During the golden age of American country music, Jack Angland was a name that resonated throughout bars, radio stations, and the hearts of listeners. His warm, seasoned voice told stories of impoverished rural areas' loneliness and the fragile hopes of working-class Americans. However, the final journey was not a tour. It was a fateful farewell. One morning, while leaving the city after a farewell concert, Jack's car was involved in a serious accident on a dangerous mountain road. The drizzle and the layer of gravel caused the vehicle to lose control, skid off the road, and roll down the slope. Despite being rushed to the hospital, the internal injuries were too severe. Jack Angland passed away before reaching the hospital, ending his career at the age of 47. His death shocked the country music community. The songs he left behind, like his own life, were simple, genuine, and full of emotion. Ironically, the person who wrote dozens of farewell songs for others could not sing a farewell for himself. She does not follow the rules. she breaks them. Isidore Duncan is the rebellious queen of modern dance, a woman who discarded the rigid movements of ballet and let her soul overflow on stage with wild, fluid motions. Draped in flowing shawls and a Greek tunic, she was not just dancing. She was redefining art. But in a more tragic event than any Greek tragedy, it was that dramatic explosion that killed her. On September 14, 1927, beautiful France. Duncan, now 50 years old, stepped into the elegant AMLC CGS convertible sports car. She was radiant, showing no fear as always. Her signature silk scarf was loosely wrapped around her neck, fluttering like a theatrical curtain, unmistakably her. Moments later, the car sped off. Immediately, the long scarf whipped back, getting caught in the open-spoke rear wheel and was pulled taut. The strong pull dragged her from the chair, slamming her head and neck down onto the sidewalk. Bystanders rushed in, but it was too late. The icon was dead choked by her own symbol of freedom. She left this world having lived a dramatic life, never regretting her movements. Isidore Duncan was not just a dancer, she was a movement. And her death, as surreal and haunting as her life, is a chilling reminder that sometimes what defines you can destroy you. He didn't just play jazz. Chu Berry shaped the rhythm with every note, a saxophone genius and a pillar of the bebop revolution. Berry's solos were like lightning in a bottle, unpredictable, thrilling, and unforgettable. He stood alongside legends who were reshaping the sound of an entire generation. But just as his career was soaring, fate closed the lid on his instrument forever. October 27, 1941. Somewhere on the highway in Kidd, Ohio, Berry was driving, perhaps planning for his next performance or thinking of a new melody in his head. The music stopped when his car collided head-on with another vehicle. The crash happened instantly and violently. There was no time for a final breath, no time to say goodbye. Leon Chu Berry, just 33 years old, died at the scene. It was a loss that resonated far beyond the stage. Colin admired him. Parker was inspired by him. Berry was not just a part of jazz history. He wrote it in real time. But the road does not care about genius. The car accident that took his life did not just take one person. It silenced a sound that was still echoing. There was no farewell tour, no final performance, just an accident, a headline and a void that nothing can fill. If you find this video meaningful and want to honor the legends who have passed away, don't forget to like and share it so that more people can learn about their stories. Please leave a comment below to let us know which story impressed you the most, or if you would like to hear more about other famous figures. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on authentic and profound videos about real-life stories, the tragedies and triumphs of the icons you love. Disappearing in the blink of an eye with steel and smoke. He was not just ahead of his time. Ernie Kovatch warped time, a mad revolutionary of television comedy. He turned absurdity into art and made the small screen his playground. With surreal humor and a mischievous smile, Kovatch not only entertained but also rewrote the rules of the game. Yet the man who mocked conventional norms did not receive the joke he deserved. On January 13, 1962, just past midnight in West Los Angeles. Kovatch was always like that. The night owl was sitting behind the wheel of his Chevrolet Corvair after a party. Perhaps tired, perhaps distracted, perhaps just unlucky. But as he sped through the deserted streets, control slipped away. The car went out of control and crashed straight into a utility pole. The impact was horrific. Kovatch was thrown from the passenger seat, hitting the sidewalk hard. His chest crushed, his skull fractured. When the rescue team arrived, there was nothing they could do. The man who once made millions laugh has passed away suddenly. He was only 42 years old. The news hits like a punch to the gut. One of the most insightful and bold voices on television has been silenced not by censorship or criticism, but by cold concrete and twisted metal. In the end, there were no camera tricks, no laughter, just the flickering streetlights over a shattered genius. Ernie Kovatch lived for surprises, and in his death, he delivered one final tragic surprise. He was not just a runner. Steve Prefontaine was a force of nature. With a mustache that matched his confidence and strides that amazed the world, he was America's long-distance rebel. He broke records, challenged coaches, and ran as if every race were his last. But his journey was not about the Olympics or the finish line. It was a cold asphalt road in Oregon filled with alcohol and drugs. On May 29, 1975, Pry had just left a barbecue party in Eugene, Oregon. The strong drinks were flowing and the beverages were getting stronger. He was sitting behind the wheel of a convertible MG with a blood alcohol concentration twice the legal limit. A few minutes later, everything went dark. His car swerved, flipped over, and crushed him underneath, alone, mangled at just 24 years old. By the time help arrived, the legend was gone. A champion silenced not by an opponent, but by his own recklessness. A truly shocking tragedy. America has lost its golden boy of resilience. A man who ran away from everything but could not escape the consequences of a decision made one night. Steve Prefontaine lived as if he raced fearlessly, fiercely, but even the fastest man on the track could not escape a turn that was too sharp, too late, too decisive. He lived on the edge and then flew away from it. Ryan Dunn was not just a member of this quirky stunt group, he was the heart of the chaos. With his carefree smile and battered body from thousands of stunts, he made fans laugh, cringe, and cheer. But the man who turned danger into entertainment faced his final moment in a blaze of heat and ultimate pain. On June 20th, 2011, in West Gann Township, Pennsylvania. After a night of fun at Barnaby's Bar with friends, including production assistant Zachary Hartwell Dunn, he took the wheel of his Porsche 911 GT3. Reports indicate he was driving at a speed of 130 mph. His blood alcohol concentration was more than double the legal limit. Then came the turn, the tree, the explosion. The collision occurred instantly and violently. The Porsche caught fire, shattering upon impact. Both Dunn and Hartwell died at the scene. Dunn was only 34 years old, just a week after his birthday. Fans were shocked. Condolences poured in. But then a debate erupted. How could a man who once boldly risked death for laughter allow that boldness to end it all? Ryan Dunn built his career by pushing every limit. But that night, the line between excitement and tragedy vanished in the flames. One last ride, one final stunt, and this time there was no second take. He is quick, brave, and unstoppable in the goal. Pelle Lindberg is not just an ordinary NHL goalie. He is the future of the sport. Hailing from Sweden, he just led the Philadelphia Flyers to the Stanley Cup Finals and won the Vezina Trophy as the league's best goalie. At just 26 years old, his legend was just beginning until everything suddenly came to a halt. Literally. On November 10th, 1985. It was a typical wild night in Philly, except tonight ended in devastation. Behind the wheel of the turbocharged Porsche 930, Lindberg roared down the street, adrenaline still surging, the taste of glory still fresh. But speed and celebration created a deadly mix. At high speed, he lost control. The car veered off, crashing into a brick wall and crumpling like tin. The damage was catastrophic. Lindberg was rushed to the hospital, but the injuries were too severe to heal. He was declared brain dead the next day. The NHL community was shocked. Fans left jerseys and flowers at the stadium. The Flyers lost not only a star, but also the heart of the team. Moments before, he was a superhero in protective gear. Moments later, he was just a memory frozen in time. If you had a final message to send to these stars before they departed, what would it be? Nicolas Razle Dingley brought raw energy and confident punk style to Hanoi Rocks, the glam rock band from Finland, which was expected to shake the world. With his wild hair and even more fervent drumming, Razle didn't just play music, he was the rhythm. But in a moment of reckless chaos, true to rock, his rhythm was abruptly interrupted on a night that began with a craving for beer. December 8, 1984. The party is in full swing at Vince Neil's mansion, the infamous lead singer of Mötley Crüe. The sound of clinking bottles fills the air. Music plays, and somewhere amidst the hazy smoke, someone realizes they have run out of alcohol. Razle and Vince, reportedly very drunk, jump into Neil's Dio Pantara to buy some more drinks. However, the trip back is neither quick nor safe. Speeding down the streets of Rondo Beach, Neil loses control. The car swerves violently and crashes head-on into another vehicle. The collision was truly horrific. Razle died on the spot. He was only 24 years old. The accident not only took the life of a young man, but also shattered Hanoi. Rocks closed the door on a rising career and became a cautionary tale echoing throughout the rock music scene. One night of drinking, one wrong decision, one legend gone. Razle lived for the noise, but he left in silence on the asphalt, not on stage. And for the fans who still feel his death, it serves as a brutal reminder that rock and roll can be ruthless even when the amplifiers are turned off. He is an icon of Canada. Strong, agile, unshakable on the ice. Tim Horton did not just skate in search of glory. He etched his name in hockey history with every powerful hit and spectacular burst of speed. But the man who helped build the Toronto Maple Leafs dynasty, and later an entire coffee empire, ended his life not on the ice, but alone in the dark, behind the wheel of a sports car that will never be seen again. There has been talk about speed, about stimulants, but no answers. Tim Horton passed away at the age of 44. This news shocked the entire country. Fans mourned, teammates wept. A brand bearing his name will rise to legend. But that name is now just a cautionary tale etched into the asphalt of Canada. On February 21, 1974, after the game against his former team in Toronto, Horton set off to Buffalo in his De Tomaso Pantera. It was late at night. He was injured but still determined. No teammates, no driver, just him and 99 miles of highway ahead. Somewhere on Queen Elizabeth Way near St. Catharines, Ontario, he lost control. The car veered off course. The accident was tragic. The police reported that he was not wearing a seatbelt. You make the drums roar like thunder and live life with the same ferocity that you bring to the stage. Cozy Powell is not just a drummer. He is a rock god behind the drums, igniting the rhythm for legendary bands like Rainbow Black Sabbath and Whitesnake. Every hit he played resonated with power, but on a stormy night in England, that rhythm came to a permanent halt. On April 5, 1998, Powell was speeding down the M4 motorway in his Saab 9000 Adrenaline, coursing through his veins and alcohol in his system. Subsequent reports indicated that his blood alcohol concentration exceeded the legal limit. He was not wearing a seatbelt and was on the phone when the car lost control. It veered off the road and crashed into a bridge pillar. The accident immediately became catastrophic and tragic. He passed away at the age of 50, just as he was planning a return to music. The entire rock music world was shocked. Cozy had survived decades of touring with wild parties and near-death experiences, but it was not a fall from the stage or a backstage brawl that killed him. It was the harsh, cold reality of the road. His drumming once shook entire arenas. Now the silence is deafening. He is the person who created the late-night television program as we know it today. Steve Allen was not just a host. He was a whirlwind of wit, charm, and creativity who pioneered The Tonight Show and changed the entertainment industry forever. As a comedian, musician, writer, and a versatile genius, Allen's mind worked faster than most people could speak. But in the end, it was not a scandal or illness that took his life. It was something silent, mysterious, and ironically cruel. On October 30th, 2000 in Los Angeles, Allen was driving to visit his son when another car backed out of a driveway and hit him. There was no major damage, no injuries, at least none that he felt. He smiled it off, but something was not right. A few hours later at his son's house, Allen lay down for a nap. He never woke up. Doctors discovered he had a ruptured blood vessel due to an internal hemorrhage from the accident, and this condition had silently taken his life. He was 78 years old. No alarm bells, no sensational headlines, just a genius slowly fading away while the world remained unaware. The man who filled the living room with laughter has left in silence. Steve Allen's death was not only tragic, but also eerie. The father of television did not pass away due to fame or notoriety, but because of a delay, a brief nap, and an unforeseen injury. Even legends are sometimes not called to the stage. He sang about the glory of war and the legends of the past, but his own death became an eternally haunting story. Johnny Horton, the man behind timeless hits like The Battle of New Orleans and North to Alaska, had a voice that turned history into a hymn. His songs felt greater than real life because he was. But in the dark of night, his death was not on the battlefield. It was on a dark highway in Texas. On November 5, 1960, Horton had just finished a performance at the Skyline Club in Austin and was on his way to Shreveport with his bandmates. In high spirits, the roads were quiet until a truck sped toward them on a narrow bridge in Milne County. The collision was head-on. Metal crumpled bones shattered. Horton was severely injured and never made it to the hospital. He was pronounced dead on the way to the hospital. He was only 35 years old. His band members survived, but not without scars. Tommy Tomlinson, the guitarist, lost a leg. Tillman Franks, the bassist, suffered a head injury. But the greatest loss is the man whose voice could make history and has now become a tragic part of it. Johnny Horton made us remember the battles of the past. Ironically, his final moment is a different story depicted not by melody but by tragedy on a lonely road in Texas. Just the Texas road, just the Texas road, just the Texas road. Life is inherently fragile and unpredictable regarding the challenges or risks that may arise at any moment. The tragic deaths of these famous individuals are not only an immense loss for their families, friends, and fans, but also a profound wake-up call for all of us. They once stood at the pinnacle of glory, inspiring others and leaving indelible marks on the hearts of the public. Yet in an instant, reckless moments, complacency, or wrong decisions along the way took their lives, leaving behind an unending sorrow. This is the clearest evidence that safety while driving should never be taken lightly, no matter who you are or where you are. These tragedies serve as a powerful reminder that caution, alertness, and a sense of responsibility not only protect oneself, but also safeguard those around you. Life is truly precious, and no reputation or wealth can buy back lost time. We hope that the story of the 20 most tragic deaths of celebrities in car accidents will make you reflect and appreciate every moment of life while also raising awareness of safe driving for yourself and the community. If you find this video helpful and meaningful, don't forget to like it to show your support and share it to spread this important message to more people. Please subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the real touching and meaningful stories in our upcoming videos. Thank you for being with us and listening. Always stay safe on all your journeys, cherish life and the loved ones around you. Because sometimes just a small decision can change a whole life.